number 10 spot is John Mayer. No one can deny the fact that he has the voice of a God-sent angel. I mean, my Lanta, that man can sing. He also is not hard on the eyes either. By 2010, he dated Jessica Simpson, Taylor Swift, and Jennifer Aniston. He's always been a ladies' man, and that might be part of the reason for his big ego. During his interview with Playboy, he revealed way too much personal information about his famous relationships and also called his private part a white supremacist. And when I say he has an ego, I am not just assuming this off my own opinion. The singer himself has actually admitted that. When describing himself during an interview, he called himself a recovered ego addict. Although the recovered part is still very questionable. But I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and maybe he's working on it. Up next, number 9 is Ariana Grande. For years now, the pop star has been accused countless times for having diva behavior. But each time, Ariana has stuck up for herself and said, I quote, "A lot of times, women are labeled as a or a diva for having a vision and being strong and using their voice, and it's just not the case." But some of her newer singles didn't really help her case. People online called her out for her single called 7 Rings, which came across as incredibly egotistical and insensitive for her split from her fiance, Pete Davidson. The lyrics write about her success and money, and also make a reference to her failed engagement. She sings that she isn't going to be a missus anymore, and instead bought 6 rings for her female friends, which is actually a true story. She revealed to her fans that she got drunk off champagne at Tiffany's with her friends and left the store with 7 rings, and then went home that afternoon and wrote the song. That sounds like a lot of friends. I wish my friends would take me to Tiffany's and buy me a ring. Get drunk. Cruising into number 8 is Justin Bieber. Before his epic return this year, he was off the radar for some time, and his haters didn't seem to mind. Obviously. And although some of his fans were thrilled about his new song Yummy, other people lost respect for him because of it. The song and music video had mixed reviews, but that wasn't the issue. It seemed like the fame had kind of gone to his head a little bit with this album, because he started telling fans to cheat the chart results. Justin posted a guide to his Instagram story giving them strategies on how to cheat the system and push his single to the number 1 on the charts. He told them to create a Spotify playlist of just his song and then basically play it on repeat while they sleep. Some people called him out, saying that it was so desperate for him to try and manipulate the charts rather than just getting valid feedback from his fans. But it just seemed like he wanted that number 1 spot so bad. In spot number 7 is Paris Hilton. She's had many diva moments throughout her career, and some would say that the fame went to her head when she built her dogs a mini mansion. Back in 2017, she tweeted out a picture of it and said that it has air conditioning, heating, designer furniture, and a chandelier. That sounds nicer than anything I've ever owned in my condo. I love how she had to let everyone know that the furniture is designer. She didn't just say furniture. She had to say designer furniture. You could tell that she enjoys the fame, because when an interviewer brought up the fact that maybe it was lacking, she got mad and walked out of the interview. The interviewer asked if she ever gets worried that her moment has passed.
You want to wrap up?
When I was curious about one thing going back to...
What followed was a long, heated conversation.
Sliding into number 6 is Mariah Carey. On many occasions, she has been defined as a diva, from her different public feuds to her legendary MTV Cribs episode. She has done some things that could give her this title. I think it would depend on who you ask though. But if you ask Will Ferrell, he will give you some examples of how the fame has gone to her head, because that is exactly what he did during an interview. In 2017, he did an interview on Watch What Happens Live and shared that Mariah was supposed to have a cameo in his film called The House. He's not usually the gossipy type, but he revealed that she showed up on set 4 hours late and then started to demand certain things, including the refusal of doing a scene which she had approved of beforehand. She was removed from the film, and Will's co-star Cedric Yarbrough called Mariah, I quote, "unprofessional and borderline abusive to our director." That is not a good look, my friend. We're halfway through at number 5, and we got Nicolas Cage. He was huge during the 90s, starring in one hit after another. He was titled one of the biggest actors in Hollywood at the time, making a reported $20 million per movie. CNBC actually reported that at one point he was worth $150 million, which almost seems like totally unfair. Like, no one deserves that amount of money. Like, not one person. But it looks like the fame and money went to his head because reports show that he started spending it all like crazy. He owned 15 multi-million-dollar homes across the globe, one of which was a $3.4 million haunted mansion in New Orleans. He also bought 2 castles in Europe, apparently, but all of his spending has left him with some financial struggles now. And let's not forget, he actually owed $40 million at one point because he did not pay the IRS. Here now at number 4 is Tana Mongeau. She is now one of the biggest female YouTubers on the platform, but over time her fans have turned into haters, and it is because of her growing ego. When she first started YouTube, people praised her for being different because she was always so relatable with her audience. Like, you could tell she was just super down to earth, and she often joked about how broke she was, making light of basically every hard situation. But ever since she gained fame, she's just been very different. She brags about her money, photoshops all of her pictures, and let's not forget about the Mercedes-Benz she bought and the Las Vegas wedding she had in 2019. Which she admitted later on that it was all for clout. It was fake. I mean, to stage an entire engagement and wedding all for money and attention, you know that fame has gone to your head. That is so much effort and time and money, and I ain't got time for any of that. I don't even have the money for it, but I'm just saying, that is a lot of effort for some attention. In our 3rd spot is John and Kate +8. Well, without the 8. And without John, so basically just Kate. The couple found success with their TLC show called John and Kate +8. The show followed the Pennsylvania parents around with their set of twins and set of sextuplets, and what it's like trying to raise 8 kids. But things started to go downhill when both John and Kate were accused of having an affair on each other. You would think once the show ended that their careers would too, but nope. Kate wanted to keep that success and was determined. So she continued on by herself with her own reality TV show called Kate +8. She just axed John right out of there. But once that was over, she also went on to do another show called Kate +Date, where her daughters help her find her next man, which is slightly uncomfortable for me. Taking over our number 2 spot is Kanye West. I mean, do I really need to explain this one? Probably not, but I will. Kanye West has an ego, and we have seen it on many occasions. Like the time he stole the mic and interrupted Taylor Swift's award speech, or the time he went on a rant at TMZ and like stormed around the entire office, or the time that he called himself God, or maybe the time he said that if he runs for president, he will be elected because he has that control and power. I feel like this list could go on for a while, but even just taking a look at his Twitter page, you get to be a witness to all of that. He is famous for his Twitter rants, which are actually wildly entertaining. Winning our number 1 spot is Amber Heard. It appears that fame went to her head to a point far above everyone else on this list. Maybe you've seen all the crazy headlines lately, but to sum it up for you, the actress was married to iconic actor Johnny Depp, but filed for divorce in May 2016 and showed up to the Los Angeles courthouse with a bruised face, claiming that he threw a cell phone at her face and since then, it has been this huge ongoing lawsuit between the two of them. She claims he is a monster who abused her and threatened to kill her, and he says that she's making all of it up to ruin his career and to get a hefty paycheck. He has actually gone completely broke because of this and has filed a $50 million defamation lawsuit against her, revealing surveillance video that proves her face wasn't bruised after their alleged fight the day she went to court. But I have an update. He may have just won his case after photos and audio footage surfaced where she admits to hitting him. Hashtag justice for Johnny Depp is trending worldwide, and fans are hoping that he will get his justice in court in August 2020. I'm hoping for it too. Starting us off at number 10 is Terrence Howard. He scored a part in one of the biggest movie franchises in the world after joining the first Iron Man movie cast. It was reported that he got a salary of $3.5 million with the promise of an extra $5 million if a sequel was going to happen, which it was. But that is when things turned sour because the actor was demanding more money and says that he took a $1 million pay cut and then blamed his co-star for it, Robert Downey Jr. Terrence claims that he persuaded Marvel to hire Robert in the first place when they were first casting for Iron Man, and then when his character was going to be cut down in the sequel, he reached out to Robert for help. But apparently, Robert did not return his calls. He didn't respond well to it and got fired from the franchise, claiming that he basically gave Robert Downey Jr. $100 million. As if he didn't earn that with his performance. Up next, number 9 is Christina Aguilera. It's no surprise anymore that some celebrities grow an ego after they achieve fame, but I personally did not expect it from this girl. In the media, she comes off super down to earth and kind, but one actor opened up about a negative experience with her that might prove her fame has gone to her head. Remember Damien from the movie Mean Girls? You know, the too gay to function best friend? Remember the scene where he sings Christina's song Beautiful in the talent show? Well, he had a chance to meet her and was obviously super excited to have that little bonding moment, as anyone would be, but apparently Christina wanted no part of it and wasn't nice about it either. He told Yahoo Movies that she was so rude, and when he met her and shared that scene with her, she said she never saw it and just walked away. Swiping the number 8 spot is Chris Brown. You know your ego is high when you're storming off the Good Morning America set during the middle of an interview, all because you didn't like the question they asked you. This happened back in 2011 when he walked out of the on-air interview, ripped off his shirt like the Hulk, and then smashed a studio window backstage. Apparently he feels like he can act that way because of his celebrity status. But we all know he thinks highly of himself just based off things that he has said. In 2013, during an interview with The Guardian, he said, "I just think I'm a walking art piece, just a ball of creativity." A walking art piece? Listen, I think it is one thing to call yourself a creative human being. That's great. I'm creative as well, but I'm not gonna call myself a piece of art or a walking art piece. Next up is Rihanna. Is it a coincidence that she's following her ex-boyfriend on this list? Maybe. Back in 2012, she was making strange headlines, one of them saying, "Should Rihanna go to rehab and does she have narcissistic personality disorder?" If you don't believe me, just Google it. This is a headline. People were diagnosing her, and the disorder is defined as a constant need for attention and admiration. The articles were even saying that Jay-Z threatened to drop her from his label if she didn't go to rehab. In more recent years, one interviewer brought up the fact that her Instagram was filled with a ton of selfies. She said she had an obsession with self-portraits and said, I quote, "It may be narcissistic, but whatever." I mean, you do you, girl. If I looked like Rihanna, I would probably post selfies all the time too. But hey. Moving along to number 6 is Charlie Sheen. His entire career was riding on his hit TV show 2.5 Men, where he was titled the highest paid actor at the time. He was earning $1.8 million an episode, just to put it into some perspective for you. But apparently the fame and success he was receiving fueled his ego, and he demanded a raise. A raise from $1.8 million. It wasn't just a dinky little raise either. He wanted a 50% raise from the show, and when he got declined, he got angry. He started to publicly insult the creator Chuck Lorre and was dismissed from the series. Later down the road, he was asked if he would ever return, and he said only if he was paid $3 million an episode. He also said, "They owe me a big one," publicly, while they lick my feet. Classy man. Halfway through the list, at number 5 is Kathy Griffin. The comedian slash actress has had a very successful career, which might be why she thought that she would get away with a joke back in 2017. Well, I'm not really sure if I can even call it a joke, but whatever. Back in 2017, she decided to team up with Tyler Shields to do a very controversial photo shoot of her holding a decapitated, bloody head of Donald Trump. The image was so real and graphic that sites actually had to blur it and block it, and same with news stations who were covering the story. When she first posted it to Twitter and saw people's horrified reactions, she began to tweet out that she went too far and she will be removing the picture. She took down the picture and apologized for offending people. But months later, she took her apology back and told the Rolling Stone, I quote, "I'm not sorry, I take the apology back 1000%. In 2019, she actually came out with a TV movie called A President Show Documentary, The Fall of Donald Trump. Is this too far? Let me know in those comments. Cruising into number 4 is Snooki. I was a big fan of hers when she started on Jersey Shore, but she had a bit of a diva moment that a lot of people didn't think was justifiable. Back in 2011, she was appearing at an event held by the Rutgers University in New York, and she demanded an extremely high pay of $32,000. The spokesman for the school said that the students are the ones who canvass for who they wanted to bring in for the budget and funds that they had for a special guest. While some fans were thrilled, other students were furious that their tuition money was going towards paying her to be at the event. She was actually paid $2,000 more than Nobel Prize winner Toni Morrison, who was to speak at their graduation. One student said, "The fact that our school spent more money on her than Toni Morrison is a little ludicrous. Snooki has no accomplishments or achievements that are worth that money." Although I personally feel that that is a little harsh, many people online agreed. Taking over the number 3 spot is another Jersey Shore star, Mike Sorrentino, also known as The Situation. The show found immediate fame and his persona became a fan favorite. But his fame, money, and success all seemed to go to his head because he felt like he was in a position where he did not need to pay his taxes. He was first busted back in 2014 after he failed to pay taxes on $8.9 million in income. It wasn't until 2018 that he actually received his punishment and was sentenced to 8 months in prison. He was also ordered to pay $123,913 in restitution, as well as a criminal fine of $10,000. Mike has learned his lesson and actually admitted that he deserved to be punished like everyone else despite his celebrity status, and he is in a much different place than he was back then, so maybe we can be forgiving for this one. Coming in like a wrecking ball at number 2 is Miley Cyrus. She has been a controversial topic for years now. She's not everyone's cup of tea, but she honestly doesn't seem to care. I personally am a huge fan of hers, but the internet seems to feel a different type of way. Her wild behavior is no secret, and some people think she only acts that way because of her ego and her position in Hollywood. I mean, I'd be lying if I said she hasn't gotten away with a lot of behavior that in the real world we would probably be arrested for. Like the time she was caught doing sexual acts with Stella Maxwell at a gas station. Now in real life, you'd be arrested. Instead, Miley gets her picture taken and she can just kind of laugh it off. I get where people are coming from when they claim that the fame has gone to her head. I don't know what she's like in real life, but to be honest, I wish I did. I wish I was her friend. Winning the number 1 spot on our countdown is James Franco. His fame seems to have gone to his head, but in a more serious and concerning way. We often hear about celebrities using their power of fame as a tool to get their way. 5 years ago, he did this when he was trying to rent a hotel room with an underage girl. Screenshots surfaced showing that she admits to being 17, and he actually confirms his celebrity status with her by sending her pictures with her name written on a sign. This wasn't the last time that this happened though. He is currently in a lawsuit after being sued by 2 of his former acting school students who claim that he used his power to sexually exploit them. I think there's more to it than just fame going to his head, but I don't think we can deny that it has something to do with it. Power is a powerful thing. Starting off our list at number 10 is Rachel Ray. The celebrity chef and TV personality has her own daily talk show where her fans book tickets to her show on a daily basis so that they can be a part of the live experience. But apparently her personality differs when you see her live compared to when she's behind your screen. On TV, Rachel's personality is bright and friendly, but one fan who attended the live show said differently. A fan took her personal review to TripAdvisor and rated her experience a 1 star out of 5. Her review had a whole story of her experience, and in it she stated, "When she came out to greet the audience, she was cold, even seemingly annoyed that she had to do the show. She complained, she rolled her eyes, and was not at all the perky, spunky personality we have come to know on her show." The fan went on to say that she also treated her staff poorly by saying things to them like, "Use your head." Honestly, in my opinion, my only advice is to just go see Ellen next time. You always know you're gonna have a good time at Ellen DeGeneres' show. Moving on to number 9, we have Mike Myers. Fame must have gone to his head from the success of his movies because the director for Cat in the Hat opened up and revealed a story of him being a complete diva and demanding ridiculous things. She did an interview back in 2008 and explained that while filming the movie with Mike, she often found it difficult to perk up his dark mood. She told the story that the actor actually stormed off set because he was infuriated that there was no margarine for his bagel. Only butter. Sources said the actor was so angry because he suffered from hypoglycemia, but that was later cleared up by the actor's rep who confirmed that he doesn't. The movie's director went on to say, "He was emotionally needy and got more difficult as the shoot went on." She admitted that she actually put her young daughter in charge of making sure that he had whatever snack he needed at any given moment. Margarine and butter are not that different. Like, literally not that different. Sliding into number 8 is Sandra Bullock. You're probably a little surprised to hear her name on this list because you don't see the actress making negative headlines very often. However, there have been some reported stories that suggest her celebrity status may have gone to her head a little bit. Back in 2012, a woman came forward and told Star magazine that Sandra was one of the meanest people in Hollywood. Turns out that she had a run-in with the actress while she was out with her husband, who was a veteran in a wheelchair. She was filming her movie The Heat in Boston at the time and was on a film break when she ran into her on the streets. Denise said that her husband asked Sandra for an autograph, but she covered her face and yelled at him. It's hard to believe that side of her since we're used to seeing her play a character like the compassionate mother in The Blind Side, but it is not the only story online that exposes her for being rude to her fans. I did some research. She's got some sass. In spot number 7 is Robert Pattinson. The Twilight actor is actually known to have a sour attitude, so I am personally not stunned by this information because I've heard it so many times. He's been recorded on multiple occasions, dissing his own Twilight movies and also the author who wrote the original novels. I don't really get how someone rips on the thing that made them rich and famous. Doesn't really make sense to me. But people were still a little surprised to see his negative attitude towards his fans, seeing as those are the people pretty much supporting your entire career. When he was interviewed for the German edition of Interview magazine, he spoke about his wild fan base and he questioned what his Twilight fans do with their time all day. He said, "Sometimes I ask myself what these masses of people do the whole day. They sit in front of their computers and comment on anything having even remotely to do with Twilight." He also referred to his fans as a crap group of crazies during an interview with Howard Stern. He seems like a lovely man. Rolling into the number 6 spot is Lea Michele. This one is all based on personal opinion because ever since she skyrocketed into fame from her role on Glee, she's come across as a really sweet girl. During interviews, in public with her fans, she just appears to have a good heart. But in 2017, she was titled as rude after walking off the set of Good Morning America. The big debate is, her interview was over when she decided to just shake Philip and Holly's hand and then walk off set. Apparently, normally the celebrity guests will chit chat with them during the commercial break and then leave, but she quickly got up, just shook their hand and then peaced. Fans started tweeting out that it was rude. I personally don't find this rude at all. She could have had somewhere to go, maybe she was in a rush. In my opinion, she smiled, she thanked them, and she left. I don't see a problem with that. However, fans said that it was rude. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Halfway through at number 5, we got Adam Levine. There are a lot of stories out there of people complaining that he isn't a friendly person in real life compared to what we see in the media. You can actually see his personality come through as a judge on The Voice, which he refuses to apologize for. He basically has zero chill and just says things how it is. But one story he's become famously known for is the time when one of his fans asked him for an autograph and he called her ugly instead. The story went viral online after a fan said that she was really excited to meet him, but when she asked for his autograph, he responded with, "I don't give autographs to ugly chicks." Now, it is her word against his, of course, but if that is true, you have to have quite the ego to think that you can say that to someone. Taking over our 4th spot is Catherine Zeta-Jones. It's been reported that she was once extremely rude to an 8-year-old girl who was excited to talk to her about acting. It is no surprise that young girls admire or idolize the actress, many of them hoping to probably be like her one day. But one 8-year-old fan shared her story a few years later, explaining the awkward moment she met her and left completely devastated. Turns out the young girl had the chance to meet her and told her that her dreams were to become an actress. She said, "Catherine turned to me, looked me up and down, and said, 'You're pretty enough, I suppose,' and then went back to her conversation. I went from feeling at ease in the world to constantly thinking about how everyone was judging me on my appearance." I mean, I don't even know how you respond like that. Like some kids I want to be an actress, my first thought wouldn't be like, are you pretty enough? That's terrible. Alright guys, in our 3rd spot is Conor McGregor. I think we can name a few different occasions where fame has gone to the fighter's head. Despite his talent and skill, no one can deny that he has one of the biggest egos in the league. He has a massive fan base, which is a huge part of the reason for his success and fame, but there's been times where he's lashed out on them for taking his picture. One example is when he was arrested and charged in February 2019 after taking a man's phone and smashing it on the ground to destroy it. Conor was walking outside of a hotel in Miami when a fan began to take pictures of him on his phone. He saw the cameras flash and immediately snatched the phone, threw it on the ground, stomped on it, and then picked it up and carried it away. The whole thing was caught on tape and the man filed a lawsuit against him to sue him for battery, assault, and infliction of emotional distress. He demanded $15,000 for repairs, but the two of them were able to reach a settlement. You know what, if someone did that to my phone, I might have emotional distress too. Winning over the number 2 spot is Michael Jordan. The basketball legend has a handful of stories against him that claim he is just plain mean. One of them comes from the rapper Chamillionaire, who was thrilled to meet his basketball hero back in 2009. He says he crossed paths with Jordan at a party after spending $7,000 for one of his jerseys at a charity auction event before the party started. He says that he saw Jordan posing for pictures with some ladies at the party, so he felt that it would not be a problem to ask for one himself. He approached Jordan, who was sitting next to Spike Lee and Paul Pierce, and asked for a picture. According to the rapper, he responded with a racist term and said that he is not taking pictures with him. He tried to explain to him that he is a huge fan and paid $7,000 for one of his jerseys, and Jordan got mad and said, I quote, "You know what? I tell you what, you pay $150,000 right now for a jersey for me and I will take a picture with you." If that doesn't say that fame has gone to your head, then I don't know what does. And in case you're wondering, Sham the man never got a picture or an apology. Sniping the number 1 spot is Christian Bale. It's hard to forget about his epic freakout moment on set that was caught on tape back in 2009. If for some reason you haven't seen it, during the filming of the Terminator movie, video footage leaked which captured the actor going off on this crazy rant on one of the crew members. You can actually hear the actor yell and cuss for a few minutes at the crew member who apparently walked behind him while he was filming the scene. You can hear the crew member explain himself and say that he was actually just looking at one of the lights because it's his job. But the actor just continues to cuss at him and calls him an amateur, telling him to stay off the effing set. The fight continued to escalate and he even threatens to kick his ass and trash his lights. He also went as far as saying that he will quit the movie if the crew member continues to work there. The audacity that Christian Bale has to act like that, I will be damned. He literally was yelling at him for doing his job. The number 10 spot is Shaquille O'Neal. Back in 2014, he made headlines after posting a mocking selfie on Instagram next to a picture of a man with a rare genetic disease. The man is Jamel Binyon, a regular guy living in Michigan who lives with ectodermal dysplasia, which affects his teeth and his hair. He ended up suing Shaq for $25,000 in damages for emotional distress. In his lawsuit, he claims offensive communications for sharing that photo with more than 8.4 million people worldwide, his followers obviously, and said that it was an invasion of privacy, defamation, and general negligence. Shaq did issue an apology after the lawsuit came, both privately and publicly. He actually tweeted, "Made a new friend today when I called and apologized to Jamel Binyon. Great dude, hashtag my bad cuz." Fans were not really impressed with this post in the first place and pointed out that he only thought he'd get away with it because of his celebrity status. Like, no one would ever post that. I don't even know why you thought that that was okay. Coming in at number 9 is Gene Simmons. Some people would say he looks scary with all the makeup he wears as one of the KISS members, but I'm sure it would surprise people to learn that he is rude to the elderly. Apparently. This whole thing started when Modern Family star Eric Stonestreet shared a series of texts from his mom back in 2014. She texted him saying, "I think Gene Simmons is on my flight. Do you think I should go give him a kiss?" Get it? Turns out she's a fan of his and wanted his autograph, but before she could even ask for one, Simmons tried to force her to give up her seat. Eric shared the text from his mom, who explained that he tried to bully her out of her seat when she said no, and made comments like, "It's okay, I just bought the plane." Clearly trying to use his fame and money as a tactic to make her move. But she did not. You stay there, girlfriend. You stay in that seat. Swiping the number 8 spot is Jennifer Lawrence. Does it count as fame gone to your head if you admit that you're rude to your fans on purpose? From the outside perspective, her fans are saying that she is cold to them in person, but from her side, she has intentions behind it. During an interview, the actress admitted to being rude to her fans and said it's how she keeps her defense up. She said, "Once I enter a public place, I become incredibly rude. I turn into a huge They say, 'Can I have a selfie?' And I'm like, no. I think that people think we are already friends because I am famous and they feel like they know me, but I don't know them. I have to protect my bubble." She went on to explain that when someone takes a picture of her and then posts it, within 2 seconds they've basically created a marker of her location. Which is totally true. Like, I can totally understand her perspective. I feel like I see both sides to it, but what do you guys think? Has the fame gone to her head? Or is she aware of the fame and this is her way of making sure that it doesn't go to her head? I don't know. In spot number 7 is Sean Penn. It's hard to forget this story because it made news headlines, but maybe you need a refresher, or maybe this will be your first time hearing about it. Back in 2013, the actor flipped out on a fan in an upscale San Francisco hotel who took a picture of him on a cell phone. His entire explosive rant was captured and the footage surfaced online. Sean was at the hotel lobby bar when he saw a flash go off from the fan's cell phone. He lunges at the guy and screamed, "Do we look like effing zoo animals?" He probably Did the head bobble there too. He then snatches the phone from the fan's hand and then slammed it to the ground and threatened that he would make him eat his cell phone if he didn't get the F out of there. The actor did not stop there though, he actually went and complained to the hotel management. The worst part about the story is that later on we learned that the fan actually attended the sales conference where Sean was speaking at. He even had his name tag on his shirt at the time of the altercation. Like bruh, just let him take a picture of you. Cruising into the 6th spot is Kevin James. The King of Queens star seems like a huge teddy bear in the series, but supposedly he is not the nicest person in real life. Someone came forward and said that he was a waiter for him one time when he asked him if he wanted anything to drink. The actor responded with, "You were told not to speak to me." Apparently Kevin's security guards went in first and told the waiters and staff to stay a certain distance from him. But the actor spoke on it and denied the story, saying that it is just a rumor. He spoke on it while doing an interview with Jimmy Fallon and said, "Can we check the facts on this one? If there was ever honestly a situation when I needed someone's undivided attention, it's gonna be when I'm ordering food from a restaurant." I mean, he does make a good point, but the question is he just covering up the story because he looked bad? We don't know the full truth, but if the waiter is telling the truth, that is some crazy diva stuff happening there. Like to get your security guards to go into the restaurant first and let everyone know, like, don't look him in the eyes and don't go near him. That's a bit much. Halfway through the list is Roseanne Barr. She had her own TV series titled Roseanne, which ran through the years 1988 to 2018 with a total of 229 episodes. So to say she is famous is an understatement. But it all seemed like that all went to her head when she started to tweet out racist remarks against Barack Obama's former senior advisor, Valerie Jarrett. She referred to her as a child of the Muslim Brotherhood and something from Planet of the Apes. I mean, I feel like you have to feel pretty confident in your position in Hollywood to feel like you can say that and not have any kind of repercussion from it. ABC called an emergency meeting immediately, and just a few hours later her show was cancelled. She issued an apology, but at the same time she also defended herself by saying that she is a comedian and sometimes people get offended by jokes. Which is true, people do get easily offended by jokes. However, not quite appropriate. Very insensitive, and just not right. We've made it to number 4 and we have Miles Teller. He had a promising career for many years, but people saw a different side to him in 2015 and one that they didn't really like. He did an interview with Esquire and for some reason he thought it'd be appropriate to tell the female writer and their waitress that the bar glass was modeled after his private parts, if you know what I'm saying. He obviously used a much more like vulgar term, but for the sake of this channel being shut down, I am not gonna say it. You guys know what I mean. He also had a really sassy attitude and tried to demand the writer to cut his meat for him when their food came. But after the interview came out, he voiced his side saying that things were changed around. He told Vulture, I quote, "If how that story made me look is how I really was, I'd think I was the biggest douchebag too. I know who I am and it's not who I was in that story." So, who do we trust? That is the question. In our 3rd spot is Pierce Brosnan. At first glance, you probably wouldn't think that he could be a rude man. His good looks, talent, and charm won over the hearts of many people when he played James Bond in the late 90s. But people's opinions may have changed after talk show host and comedian James Corden revealed that he was rude when he ran into him. While playing a game on his own talk show in 2017, he was asked who the rudest celebrity is that he ever met, and Pierce was his answer. James said he went to see U2 and Pierce was there with some of his friends and they left halfway through. So James, who was with his wife at the time, moved into that area. As we all do. But then Pierce came and apparently pushed James out of the way, and James tried to like say hi and explain what was happening, but I guess Pierce just put up his arm to block him and wouldn't even acknowledge him. Making our way to number 2, we have Faye Dunaway. The Academy Award winner has been in hot water on many occasions throughout her career for her bizarre and disrespectful behavior. Most recently in 2019, she was fired from her Broadway play, Tea at 5, because of her erratic demands on set. Apparently, she was throwing objects at crew members, slapping members of her wig fitting team. She also threw one of her salads on the floor and also insisted that no one wear white to rehearsal because it's distracting. But things got even worse and she got sued by one of her assistants, Michael Rocca, who claims she verbally harassed him and referred to him as a little homosexual boy. His job was to run around and take care of things that she demanded each day, and he turned in audio evidence of her abuse where she often used his sexual orientation to demean and humiliate him. I don't know if that that's fame gone to your head or if that's just like, you're just plain like not a good person. Taking our #1 spot is Bob Dylan. It's not totally surprising to think that the Nobel Prize winner might have a bit of an ego. I mean, that is quite the award to win. I might be feeling pretty good if I won that too. There has been a variety of reported incidents where he has come off as a diva. One stagehand who worked on his show said that he is famous for threatening to get them fired if any stagehands make eye contact with him. The employee said, "We aren't allowed to be around when he's playing since we didn't pay for tickets, even though it can take days to set up his show." And you know that Nobel Prize I told you that he won? Well, one Nobel Academy member came forward and called him impolite and arrogant after he refused to pick up their phone calls after the award was announced. I mean, I don't want to assume that he wasn't answering their calls on purpose, but I do understand like you probably should have put some effort into answering their phone calls, seeing as you're about to win the Nobel Prize award. Yeah, and as for the show, come on. Can you imagine like hiding your music like from the people who are setting up your entire show? Like, you can't be near me, you didn't buy a ticket. Like, bruh, you don't have a stage to perform on if it's not for me. Imagine that. Starting us off at #10 is Amy Schumer. Her jokes have often pushed the limits, but tons of people adore her sense of humor, which is why she's one of Hollywood's most successful female comedians. But there was a moment when people felt she went out of her way to be rude to one of her fans. She posted a photo of a man named Leslie Brewer to her Instagram account and wrote up a story that he approached her with a camera and started taking pictures, even though she was telling him no and asked him to stop. Apparently he responded by saying, "No, it's America and we paid for you." By the end of the post, she announced she would no longer be taking photos with any of her fans thanks to this one guy. The man spoke up after the post and said that he is being bullied by her fans and only did what every other fan would do, which is go up to her and take a photo of her. But I want to hear your opinions. What do you guys think about this? Do you think she had a right to do that? Do you agree with her? Let me know. Up next, #9 is Spike Lee. He's known to speak his mind and he's had a reputation online for being short and rude to people, from different journalists, other celebrities, and to his fans. We cannot forget the feuds he started publicly with Tyler Perry and Chance the Rapper. Not to mention, he has cut some Q&A sessions short, even though his fans have paid to be there for it. But he really got into his head at the Oscars in 2019 when he walked out of the Dolby Theater after hearing that Green Book won Best Picture. Reports from inside the theater said that he was visibly upset and tried to leave the ceremony before the speeches were even concluded. One reporter said he waved his arms around in anger and stormed out of the theater, but he was stopped by the doors and was forced to return to his seat. Talk about a sore loser. How rude not to support your other actors. Sliding to #8 is Robert Downey Jr. Because of his success and the ridiculous amounts of money he earned as Iron Man, people have often accused him of being a jerk in real life. People online have called him fame and money obsessed and said that he is given the cold shoulder when they've seen him in person. But one incident stirred up some controversy and people didn't know if he was being a jerk or if he had every right to handle the situation like he did. What happened was, back in 2015 he was doing an interview and the Channel 4 journalist kept prying about his past drug problems, even though he was there to promote his movie. So at one point, Robert walks out of the interview and just leaves the studio and does not complete the interview. Some people agree with him and said that he had every right to do that, while others say that he could have just handled it a lot differently. In spot #7 is Anna Kendrick. In my personal opinion, she seems super down to earth, funny, and really sweet. She's always appeared that way during interviews and towards her fans on social media. But some people were upset after she posted a tweet back in 2014 exposing one of her fans for a picture that he took with her. She tweeted out, "Hey fellow humans, when you see me picking up prescriptions and want to get a photo, can you be super cool and just not do that? Thank you." The fan from the picture posted a selfie with her and said he saw her at CVS and asked for a selfie. I mean, when you're a starstruck fan, you probably just don't consider your surroundings, you kinda just wanna like meet them ASAP. But he felt really bad and probably a little embarrassed since she called him out in front of the entire world. But I get both sides of the story. Also awkward if you're trying to buy prescriptions. Cruising into number 6 is Jamie Foxx. As a celebrity, you often get ridiculed for your sense of humor. Oftentimes they will do or say something that to them is a joke, but no one else finds it funny and can be offended or hurt by it. Back in 2017, he went on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and he thought it'd be funny to mimic sign language as the show went into a commercial break. His questionable joke offended tons of people, but also the Dancing with the Stars season 22 winner, Niall DeMarco, who just so happens to be deaf. He called it straight up disrespectful and wrote an open letter to the actor saying his behavior should not be tolerated. He also made a good point that he will most likely get away with it because of his celebrity status. I mean, it's possible that his fame and position creates this comfort where he feels like he can do that kind of joke and get away with it, but either way, not cool, man. Halfway through at number 5 is Jon Hamm. It might depend on who you ask when it comes to this actor, but if you ask Kathy Griffin, she wouldn't have very good things to say about him. In her memoir, she shared a story about him saying that he aggressively confronted her at a party, asking who invited her. Apparently, he made rude comments to her, saying that she had a failed career and even commented on her age. She wrote, "You'll never convince me to like Jon Hamm. The vibe I've always gotten from him is cold and somewhat disrespectful toward me. I'm suggesting he's one of these hot guys who's mildly funny but actually thinks he's comedian level funny." Now, everyone would probably have their own experience with meeting him, but even asking her why she's at the party that you're at just suggests that you think she doesn't deserve to be there, but you do. Like you're above her or something. Here now at number 4 is Bruce Willis. You have to have some kind of ego for people to label you as rude, painful, and completely uncooperative. That's what happened with this actor after he sat down to do an interview with Britain's Magic 105.4 back in 2013. The video footage shows how uninterested he appears to be in this interview, and it's been labeled as one of the most awkward interviews ever. At one point in the interview, he even says that he can hardly keep his mind on it. He started ridiculing the reporter, Jamie Edwards, saying that he was bored with it and wanted to leave. He said, "I'm thinking about driving right now. I can hardly keep my mind on this interview. You have some great questions here, Jamie. Great chat." I'm sorry, but you don't gotta be an asshole. Alright guys, we've made it to number 3 and we have Tobey Maguire. He took on a role in the movie Molly's Game, which required the cast to get familiar with poker playing. According to Molly Bloom, Tobey was, I quote, "the worst tipper, the best player, and the absolute worst loser." Production would actually set up games for them and they were required to play them just to practice the game. Molly would take home more than $50,000 a night, so they ended up nicknaming her Poker Princess. Like many people, she was a fan of the actor, but Tobey apparently felt like she was making too much money and humiliated her in front of all the other players and cast members. Turns out he ordered her to bark like a seal who wants a fish for a $1,000 chip. The waitress tried to laugh it off, but he continued by saying, "I'm not kidding. What's wrong? You're too rich now? You won't bark for $1,000? He thought it was funny, but reports say he said it with a serious face and just kept the insults going the whole game. No offense, man, but I don't think any successful actor should poke fun at someone who's making good money. Like, look who's talking. Taking over the second spot on our list is Kate Winslet. Not someone I personally expected to be on this list. Back in 2012, she was being accused of snubbing her fans. People from a town in Massachusetts accused her of being rude and not acknowledging their presence, like she was above them or something. She was shooting her movie Labor Day in the area, and some of her fans contacted the local press saying, "Kate was so rude, she never once acknowledged us. I was devastated. This was the first celebrity I've seen in my lifetime, and sadly the experience was hurtful to me and my entire town." This isn't the first time that Kate has been accused of diva-like behavior either. It was reported that she refused to be photographed at the Venice Film Festival unless it was on the red carpet. And apparently, she has answered questions during interviews with a very sulky attitude. In the number 1 spot is Woody Allen. There are a lot of celebrities out there who will admit that they love their profession but hate the fame. But when it comes to Woody Allen, he actually likes it. He said that it's better to be famous than to be unknown because, I quote, "the perks are better." And he is not wrong. The filmmaker said, "You get better seats at basketball games and you get better tables and reservation places, and if I call a doctor on a Saturday morning, I can get him. There's a lot of things that you don't get if you're not famous. It's kind of disgusting, but I can't say I don't enjoy it." Well, at least he's being honest. He has no problem admitting that he enjoys the perks of fame, and people often see it as bragging because it just kind of comes across that way.
Coming in at 10, Justin Bieber. Back in March of this year, Justin Bieber took to to Instagram to inform his fans that he was stepping away from creating music. I quote, "So I read a lot of messages saying you want an album. I've toured my whole teenage life and early 20s. I realized, as you guys probably saw, I was unhappy last tour, and I don't deserve that and you don't deserve that. You pay money to come and have a lively, energetic, fun, light concert, and I was unable emotionally to give you that near the end of the tour. I'm now focused on repairing some of the deep-rooted issues that I have, as most of us have, so that I don't fall apart, so that I can sustain my marriage and to be the father I want to be." He goes on to state that he will be back with a kick-ass album, implying that this is just a temporary hiatus, but as of now, the most we have seen of him is when he was featured on Ed Sheeran's latest single, I Don't Care. Justin's last album, Purpose, was released all the way back in 2015, although he did appear as a guest on other tracks following that. He is currently married to Hailey Baldwin, with the pair living in both LA and Ontario, Canada. Coming in at 9, Vanilla Ice. All the way back in 1989, rapper Vanilla Ice released his debut album Hooked before going on to release his best-known hit, Ice Ice Baby, in 1990, which gave him his 15 minutes of fame. However, during his short career, Ice had some legal issues. Well, a lot. On August 8, 1988, Ice was arrested in South Dallas for illegal drag racing. In 1990, he was threatened with copyright infringement for use of samples from Under Pressure by Queen and David Bowie. Then, on June 3, 1991, he was arrested in LA on firearm charges after threatening a homeless man with a pistol. Then again, in January 2001, Ice was arrested by police in Florida for his wife, and then again on April 10, 2008. Finally, in February 2015, Ice was arrested and charged with residential burglary and grand theft after he allegedly stole furniture, a pool heater, bicycles, and other items from a Florida home that he believed to be vacant. Yeah, it's a lot. It may shock a lot of you to know that Ice is now a real estate investor and home innovator, realizing that selling off property got him a heck lot of money instead of, breaking the law. Coming in at 8, Jonathan Bennett. Jonathan Bennett shot to fame when he starred as Aaron Samuels in the smash hit comedy Mean Girls back in 2004. He went on to star in a handful of somewhat successful flops before seemingly disappearing. It was a bizarre absence considering Bennett had easily won over most of the female league with his good looks and dopey smile. However, it seems as though acting wasn't his passion. As of right now, you can find Jonathan Bennett in your local gym where he's a spin class instructor. Shocking, I know, but just take a look at this adorable picture. Coming in at 7, Shane McDermott. Shane McDermott was a popular child actor back in the early 90s, appearing in works such as The Babysitter's Club, Swan's Crossing, Law & Order, All My Children as Scott Chandler, and of course Airborne. However, as quickly as the actor broke into the industry, he very quickly left, opting to attend school and study acting at the Neighborhood Playhouse in New York City. The actor has explicitly stated that he has no desire to return to acting, stating, "It was time to move on. I wanted a family and simpler life. This I found in Galveston, Texas." As of 2019, McDermott is a realtor in Texas and is happily married with 2 children. Coming in at 6, Amanda Bynes. Amanda Bynes first hit our screens when she starred in her self-titled show The Amanda Show, which was comprised of short skits for young kids in a very SNL-style format. We knew all the way back in the 90s that Amanda was going to be huge, and that she was. For a while anyway. The actress went on to star in All That, What a Girl Wants, She's the Man, and Hairspray, with the last film Bynes has starred in being Easy A, almost 10 years ago. Amanda willingly chose to step away from the limelight, during which time she sadly suffered a severe mental breakdown, resulting in her arrest. In 2012, Bynes was charged with driving under the influence, and just 1 year later she was charged with reckless endangerment and marijuana possession after she was found smoking in the lobby of her Manhattan apartment building. She then went on to start a small fire in her neighbor's driveway before being hospitalized under a 72-hour mental health evaluation hold. In 2014, Bynes accused her father of emotional and sexual abuse in a series of tweets before quickly backtracking. Finally, in 2018, Bynes had stated that she had been sober for 4 years with the help of her parents before going on to apologize for her comments on Twitter over the years. I quote, "I'm really ashamed and embarrassed with the things I said. I can't turn back time, but if I could, I would. And I'm so sorry to whoever I hurt and whoever I lied about because it truly eats away at me." I think it's safe to say that we're all incredibly happy that she got help, and I think stepping out of the spotlight is exactly what she needed. Coming in at 5, Frankie Muniz. Frankie Muniz shot to fame when he landed the title role in the TV series Malcolm in the Middle, which ran from 2000 to 2006. In between that time, he went on to star in works such as Agent Cody Banks, Big Fat Liar alongside our previous number, My Dog Skip, and The Fairly Odd Parents. However, gradually over the last few years, years, Frankie began to disappear from our screens, and that's because he transitioned into racing. Yeah. He raced his cars now. Malcolm in the Middle races cars. He has competed in a series of celebrity and charity tournaments over the years before moving up to more competitive racing in 2007, when he competed in the Champ Car Atlantic Series, where he finished in 9th place, earning $17,000 in prize money. Outside of racing, Frankie has had some personal health issues that have also kept him away from his career. On November 30th, 2012, at the age of 26, Muniz was hospitalized after having a mini stroke, before suffering a second attack just a year later. It was revealed later on that the star had suffered significant memory loss, forgetting he starred in his own shows, including Malcolm in the Middle. Coming in at 4, Freddie Prinze Jr. Freddie Prinze Jr. was the heartthrob of an entire generation, starring in movies like I Know What You Did Last Summer, She's All That, and of course, Scooby-Doo. He was the poster on most teenage girls' walls in the late 90s and early 2000s, but then he just disappeared from Hollywood, with the actor vowing not to return, stating, "It's just too weird." Turns out the heartthrob was pursuing his other passion instead: cooking. As of now, Freddie Prinze is a chef, officially listed as one on his Instagram page. He even launched his own book called Back to the Kitchen that comes with 75 recipes you can try at home. Who knew he was a lover of fine dining? Not me. Coming in at 3, Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz was a Hollywood favorite back in the 90s and early 2000s, with the actress starring in films such as There's Something About Mary, Being John Malkovich, Shrek, The Sweetest Thing, and Charlie's Angels. However, the star disappeared back in 2014, with the last film to her name being Annie, released in the same year. In 2018, we finally got our answer though, thanks to Selma Blair, who gave an interview with Metro stating that Cameron had retired and saying, I quote, "She doesn't need to make any more films. She has a pretty great life. I don't know what it would take to bring her back." Blair quickly redacted her comments though, stating she was joking. However, Cameron confirmed the rumour to us when she admitted she had retired in order to spend more time with her husband, with the star feeling like she no longer needed to make films. Coming in at 2, Mara Wilson. Who could possibly forget Matilda, everyone's favourite childhood movie about a young abused girl who discovers she has telekinetic powers? It's simply the best. And a pretty dark movie the more you think about it. Anyway, Mara Wilson was at one point the most popular child actor, also appearing in Mrs. Doubtfire, Miracle on 34th Street, A Simple Wish, and Melrose Place. She was seemingly everywhere during the mid-90s, however between 2000 and 2011 she completely disappeared from the industry. She opted to return to school, attending the Idlewild Arts Academy in California before relocating to New York and continuing her studies at New York University's Tisch School of the Arts, where she graduated in 2009. Wilson has explicitly stated that her acting days are over, aside from making small cameo appearances in shows such as Broad City, and instead she is focusing on writing, with the star even releasing a book back in 2016 called Where Am I Now? True Stories of Girlhood and Accidental Fame. And finally, coming in at number 1, Macaulay Culkin. Aside from our previous number throughout the 90s, Culkin was by far the most popular child actor on the scene, appearing in the smash hits Home Alone, Uncle Buck, The Good Son, and Richie Rich, my personal favourite. He was everywhere, even ranking number 2 on VH1's list of the 100 greatest kid stars. He was also regarded as the most successful child actor since Shirley Temple, and that's quite the feat. However, Culkin took a break from acting in '94 before returning in 2003 with a guest appearance on the TV series Will and Grace. Aside from a handful of cameos though, the star has never made a full return to the industry, and instead spends a lot of his time playing with his pizza-themed comedy rock band, The Pizza Underground, of which he is the lead vocalist, even touring around the country. Culkin is also currently the publisher and COO of a satirical pop culture website and podcast called Bunny Ears, and as it stands, he has no plans to return to acting.
Starting off our list at number 10 is Nicki Minaj. The 36-year-old rapper is known for her vulgar lyrics and rainbow-colored wigs, and that is because she has no problem flaunting either of them. She has 103 million followers on Instagram and loves to show off the 3 B's: brands, body, and booty. Her bio even says her name is Barbie, which she likes her fans to call her. Well, Barbie or Queen. Throughout her career, she's gone above and beyond for her image and the fame that it brings her. She recently lashed out on social media about other celebrities and artists wearing wigs similar to hers, saying that they were copying her. Are we in elementary school? Who cares? It was even reported that she fired her entire glam squad and hired a new one to achieve her new look as Barbie. If you follow her, you already know that she's often in a scuff with another celebrity. More recently, it has been Miley Cyrus taking the punches. Just a few weeks ago, on June 21st, Nicki dissed Miley on an episode of Queen Radio where she compared her body to a Purdue chicken and accused her of a sexual encounter with Mike Will Made It. Miley hasn't acknowledged the comments or even entertained them, so it just goes to show that Nicki has to be in the spotlight even if it means putting down another woman. However, I don't like to judge celebrities because I obviously don't personally know them. Nicki has opened up about the struggles of her childhood and her father's abuse and drugs. So it could be that she's addicted to the fame because her success just shows her how far she has come. At number 9 is Will Smith. The hilarious and talented actor has been famous for years and has no problem completely owning it. While appearing on Jimmy Kimmel Live, he got candid about his fame, saying, and I quote, "I want people to recognize me. I've met a lot of people where fame can be a burden and I just love it." To be fair, he always has a lot of fun with his fans and goes above and beyond to have conversations with them and takes different fun videos and pictures with them. He went on to explain how the perks of his fame can come in handy at very unexpected times, like the time he went to a gas station for gas and forgot his wallet. True story. Rather than calling to ask his wife to drive 30 minutes both ways to bring him his wallet, he used the fame card. He rolled down his window in hopes that a 36-year-old dude next to him would recognize him from Fresh Prince. Sure enough, he did, and the two of them began talking and taking pictures. The man ended up spotting Will the cash, and the actor asked for his information so that he could repay him for the favor. Personally, I love Will Smith. Even if he is addicted to fame in some way, I still think he does it in a very respectful way. You can appreciate your position and do good with it, and I think he does a good job at that. Taking over our number 8 spot is Lindsay Lohan. The actress has been in the spotlight for many years and for many different reasons, some good and a lot of them bad. In more recent years, she struggled with different addictions to both drugs and alcohol and even faced some jail time. But one addiction people have always accused the actress of is fame. Back in 2014, the actress made a list of famous conquests she had her eyes on, aka a sex list, which had 18 names revealed and 18 blurred out. I feel like you only do that if you're looking for some kind of attention from it. She says it was part of one of her programs to make the list and that someone took a picture of it and leaked it, but people were finding it hard to believe that her program would have her write out a Hollywood sex list. Some people saw it as just another way to try and grab the media's attention. And for the record, the men on the list either denied it or ignored it. Just a few years ago, she moved to Dubai because she said paparazzi are illegal there and she was tired of being in the spotlight and wanted to get out of Hollywood. This was refreshing for fans to hear. However, it was contradicted when she then later announced her new MTV show, Lindsay Lohan's Beach Club. She is now the leading lady of the whole show in Dubai and even came back to LA to do press and appearances for it. She could have got back into acting, but instead she chose reality TV, which is usually the first sign of people just wanting to be on TV. It's hard to say. I personally just think that once she maybe finally escaped the fame, she just ended up missing it. It's kind of all she's used to. Swiping our number 7 spot is Chris Rock. The comedian has no problem filling arenas after rising to fame in the early 90s. He became a superstar performer, which naturally brings fame, and Rock has no problem with it. He actually really likes it. The comedian said he loves being famous and even compares it to being a hot chick and said, I quote, "It's almost like being white." I mean, we can't really expect him not to make jokes about his stardom. During an interview on The Approval Matrix, he said, "Are people wrong to want to be famous? No, it's what David Spade always says. Being famous is just like being a hot chick. You ever go to a baseball game or a football game and a hot chick walks through the crowd and goes to the bathroom? Guys clap. Everybody looks. It's just famous." He uses comedy as a way to explain that loving fame isn't something that should be frowned upon and that it is okay to want it and enjoy it. And at number 6 is Blac Chyna. I feel like she's one of those people that you have to research why she's actually famous, kind of like I had to do for this video. Her real name is Angela White, but she was once a stripper in Miami and went by the stage name Blac Chyna. She wanted to pursue modeling and she was even cast to be a stunt double for Nicki Minaj in a music video, Monster by Kanye West. Her career then began to take off and she started appearing in magazines and making a name for herself. In 2011, she started dating Tyga and had a son with him, and then years later began dating Rob Kardashian. The two of them started appearing on their own reality show called Rob and Chyna. If you watched it, that is where we saw them fight and also have their daughter named Dream. In late 2016, the couple called it quits and the show was cancelled for good. At that point, Blac Chyna was a mother of 2, which you might think would be a a good time to focus on family, but she had no intentions of leaving the limelight. In fact, she always finds a way to make sure that she's in it. She created her own brand of eyelash products and also signed up on a reality show called The Real Black China. One thing she isn't a fan of is when people say that the Kardashians made her famous. In response to this, during an interview, she said, "I was already famous before the Kardashians. I was already a celebrity. Even back in DC, I took over that. Went to Miami and I was a celebrity down there. Came to LA, same thing. I kind of ran all 3 states and I'm actually kind of proud of that." Is anyone else thinking the same thing? Like, girl, you are not running LA. I had to Google who you were. Halfway through our list, at number 5 is Robert Downey Jr. He is another person on this list who came from a dark past and turned his life around, which might be why he is enjoying the fame so much. His struggles with drugs and alcohol have been very well documented, and even his time in prison. But he managed to turn his entire life around and is now one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. Forbes reported that in 2019, the actor tied for 2nd place on the list of highest paid actors, earning $20 million for his film. If you're wondering who he tied with, it is Dwayne Johnson, and Ryan Reynolds is actually in 1st place for $27 million. Fun fact. The actor has been very vocal about how much he enjoys his platform and fame and isn't shy about flaunting just how rich he is. I mean, let's be honest guys, we love him, but he basks in the glory of his fame and money. During interviews, he brags about his watch collections, his cars, and overall just his lavish lifestyle. He is also the one actor in the Marvel franchise that earns an additional 2.5% profit from the movies on top of his contract earnings. It was estimated that he made $15 million for his small appearance in Spider-Man Homecoming, which was reported to only have the actor filming for 3 days, and it was only because that's what he demanded for the role. $15 million in 3 days of work. That is insane. The actor went from behind bars to drowning in money and fame, so he's probably just appreciating it like any of us would. Here we are at number 4 with the Pratts. This one is a package deal. We have the MTV couple Heidi Montag and Spencer Pratt, who are married. I guess she just didn't want to change her name apparently. The two of them became famous on the MTV show The Hills. The show ended back in 2010 and the couple kind of just fell off the map after that. However, that wasn't their choice. They were titled as one of the world's most hated couples at one point in time. And the couple has tried to find a way back into the spotlight. Last year in 2018, they created a podcast to try and gather a new following and also created the hashtag Make Spidey Famous Again. None of this is surprising, seeing as they have admitted back in 2016 to having all of their paparazzi photos staged. Spencer opened up during an interview saying he made a deal with Pacific Coast News to have a photographer named James follow them around and take stage photographs. Spencer explained, and I quote, "We had a 50-50 partnership with PCN and we were making over $1 million selling our paparazzi photos. So you start doing a lot of them and you're like, this is the best gig ever." Real paparazzi actually lost interest in them. The couple admits to actually leaving their plates of food at the restaurant just to go outside and try and grab the attention from the cameramen. I mean, that just seems a little pathetic to me. The Pratts have no problem saying they want to be famous again, and they are hoping to get that chance with the new Hills reboot that just came back to MTV. Alright guys, at number 3 is Charlie Sheen. To be honest, he seems to have liked all the negative attention that he was getting, probably because it was just publicity for him no matter what. He is the son of actor Martin Sheen, so he probably had a desire to follow in his footsteps. He did a good job at that by starring in the hit comedy series 2.5 Men, which had him as the highest paid actor on television for some time. Over the years, his career has crumbled due to his struggle with alcohol and drug addiction, plus his erratic outbursts, which were all documented and shared with the world, of course. He has tried to use his power and fame to insult the 2.5 Men writer Chuck Lorre, and also demanded a pay raise because apparently he is just that famous and deserves that. Back in 2011, when he was still on the show, he was making close to $2 million an episode, and then he demanded he deserved a pay raise to $3 million an episode. The actor has an attitude that he is much better than everyone else, and once told CBS that they can lick his feet because they are so below him. But there is a good ending to this story. The actor still loves his fame and platform, but after being diagnosed with HIV, he is hoping to use his platform to help others that are going through the same thing. He has been sober for almost 2 years, so he is finally getting some positive publicity, and he's loving it, of course. At number 2 is Kim Kardashian. There is a love-hate relationship when it comes to Kim K. Some people adore her and her family, while others say that she is famous for no reason and can't stand her. There has been an ongoing joke for years now that she is famous for being famous. Her family got their own reality TV show when she was younger, which had all the sisters growing up in the spotlight, but no one really knew about Kim until her sex tape came out. Kim herself makes jokes during interviews that the tape is what put the Kardashian family on the map. She even told her sisters, "You're welcome." From there, she considered herself a reality TV star and has started her own makeup brand. She even made an entire emoji collection called Kimojis, where the memes were her face and icons that represented her, like an ass emoji. No joke. Some would say she is simply an Instagram influencer, as she charges over $300,000 for one brand advertisement. Good news is, Kim has no problem joking about the fact that she is famous without much reason. She posted a video on Instagram where her daughter North asked her why she's famous, and Kim replies saying, "My name is Kim Kardashian and daddy is Kanye West. And daddy is a singer, performer, artist. Mommy has so many talents I can't even begin to name them." She ends the video with a playful laugh, as did the people watching it, because at the end of the day, at least she's able to admit it, right? In our number 1 spot is Tana Mongeau. The YouTube star was once just a regular girl posting videos on her channel, but then quickly rose to fame and is eating up every second of it. Near the beginning of her stardom, she would always make comments on her new, wealthier lifestyle, saying how grateful and humbled she was by all of it. But over the past year, her entire attitude has kind of changed. After her split with Brad Sousa, she immediately began dating Jake Paul, which skyrocketed her career even further, and she recently announced that she has her own reality TV show coming out on MTV called Tana Turns 21. I have always been a big fan of her, but that is when I saw the most change about how she started speaking about her success. She began posting videos on her Instagram bragging about being a new reality TV star. It's almost like her whole humble speech just went out the door. In numerous posts, she also begged Jake Paul to buy her a car, even though she definitely has the money for it, but he did it anyways. Or so we thought. She posted a picture with her brand new Mercedes and captioned it, "Never give up on your dreams, kids," and continued to make jokes that she has always dreamed of her man buying her a car. But after getting all that attention and news articles about it, she admitted in a video that it was a fake car and that he didn't actually buy it for her. But the biggest and most recent scandal of all is the fact that the two of them planned an entire engagement for her MTV show, where Jake proposed to her in a Vegas nightclub. No one knew if it was real or not, but he recently posted the actual video of the proposal where he proposed with a ring pop. She used a diamond ring for her pictures on Instagram to make it look like it was real. Jake posted the proposal photo on Instagram and captioned it, "Till Clout do us part," with the money emoji. So basically, everything she does now is for clout, attention, money, likes, followers, basically just fame in general. She lives for it. Starting off our list at number 10 is Lil Kim. Remember Lil Kim, the cute sassy rapper who used to hang out with Puff Daddy and the whole Junior Mafia clique? The famous rapper was known for her raunchiness, whether it be through the microphone or through her pictures. However, over the year, her pictures started to become unrecognizable. In the past decade, we've seen her transform her face with several different plastic surgeries, each time leaving us with more shocking results. Her once round nose is now extremely thin, and even her eyes sit differently on her face. What shocked people the most was in more recent pictures, not only was her face changed, but so has her complexion. She has lightened her complexion to a point where she no longer resembles a black woman. It's sad because the rapper has been open about her appearance and said it's because of her low self-esteem. She opened up during an interview and said, "All of my life, men have told me I wasn't pretty enough, even men I was dating. To this day, when someone says I'm cute, I can't see it. I don't see it no matter what anybody says." Celebrity plastic surgeon Dr. Gary Breslow tells Page 6 that he thinks she may need some help and that he fears she has a plastic surgery addiction. Based on her photos, he estimated she likely spent $20,000 to $25,000 on her surgeries, which include cheek implants, rhinoplasty, a chin implant, lip augmentation, and skin bleaching. At number 9 is Dolly Parton. There are so many reasons that people love Dolly, and her signature look is just one of them. She's open about her love for plastic surgery, which she couldn't even hide even if she wanted to, as her look has obviously changed over the years. She was always a pretty girl to begin with, but as the years went on, she began to get a bit of work done here and there. It's hard to believe that she turned 73 this year considering how good she looks, but there is no doubt that her plastic surgery played a part in that. The country artist has admitted to her numerous cosmetic procedures, which include breast implants, a brow lift, a facelift, eyelid surgery, chin augmentation, and rhinoplasty, which is a nose job by the way. We might not agree to her list of tweaks, but they have all contributed attributed to her iconic Dolly Parton look, and she is thrilled about it. How could we forget her famous quote, "It cost a lot of money to look this cheap." As long as she's happy, I'm happy. Taking over the number 8 spot is Amanda Lepore. She is a transgender nightlife diva who people call a moving sculpture. She's a person who has made her own body her life's work. She has no problem flaunting her plastic surgery journey. She has undergone cosmetic alterations to almost every part of her body that can physically be altered. She's had booty silicone injections, a nose job, a facelift, her hairline lowered, cheek fillers, breast implants, and to get an hourglass figure, she even had her bottom ribs broken. It's been reported that the total cost of all her cosmetic procedures is over $1 million. She loves that people think she looks doll-like and says that all of her procedures went smoothly. She says, "Fortunately, everything was at its best when I had it done. I didn't have to do silicone injections in the boobs and things like that. They had implants by then. In those ways, I was lucky, and the sex change was really good. I didn't have to fix everything." The diva wrote a book called Doll Parts, which shares her entire journey as a transgender beauty queen. Sliding into number 7 is Mickey Rourke. The actor was once being called the next Marlon Brando, as he was known for his movies like Body Heat, 9.5 Weeks, and Angel Heart. However, over the years, fans can't help but notice the drastic change in the former heartthrob's looks. In 2017, photos of the actor went viral when people were stunned at how unrecognizable he looked. He's opened up about his plastic surgery, saying that it was all a result of injuries he got when he was an amateur boxer before he became an actor. He said, "Most of it was to mend the mess of my face, but I went to the wrong guy to put my face back together. I had my nose broken twice, I had 5 operations on my nose, and 1 on a smashed cheekbone. There has been debate whether the procedures were all reconstructive or some of them cosmetic. Experts have reported that he has also had a facelift, eyelid surgery, soft tissue fillers, cheek implants, and a chin implant." He posted a picture on Instagram of him wearing a bandage and shaking hands with his plastic surgeon and captioned it, "Now I am pretty again." His fans weren't too impressed by that. At number 6 is Joan Rivers. She is famously known to do it all, being an American comedian, actress, writer, producer, and television host. Throughout her career, she has been known for constantly changing her face, but in 2015, it was revealed just how many procedures she's had done. She sadly passed away on September 4th, 2014, and her daughter Melissa wrote a memoir called The Book of Joan: Tales of Mirth, Mischief, and Manipulation as a tribute to her life. In the book, she reveals that Joan had a total of 348 cosmetic operations done over her lifetime. Her daughter explains that she was never happy with the way she looked, no matter how many procedures she had gotten done. It was just never enough. Her daughter said she shared these details because she wanted people to know that even though she was always cracking jokes in her comedy routines, she always felt less than when it came to her appearance, which is why she originally turned to plastic surgery. Halfway through the list at number 5 is LaToya Jackson, the American singer and actress who is the 5th child of the Jackson family. Yes, Michael Jackson's own sister also had an addiction to plastic surgery. When you look at the family as a whole, plastic surgery in general just runs in the family. LaToya Jackson has always been known as a natural beauty when she first started her career, but over the years she has had so much work done she is now unrecognizable. It's almost scary how identical her face looks to Michael Jackson's post-surgery face. The most obvious work she's had done is her tightly pinched nose, skin tightening, cheek implants, and skin bleaching. People say that she looks exactly like her brother did, so they must have shared the same surgeon, which is ironic because LaToya once criticized her brother Michael for being obsessed with going under the knife and publicly blamed it on the violence and cruelty their father Joe showed them. She is now 63 years old, but you would never know because she literally looks like she's 35. In spot number 4 is Joan Van Ark. The actress is known for her talent, but also for her knife work and plastic surgery scandal. She's known to have one of the most disastrous plastic surgery cases, which is far from humorous, so do not think I am poking fun of her at all. This is just facts. Her multiple surgeries ended up leaving her with a permanently stunned look. Her first surgery was Botox injections to help any signs of aging, such as wrinkles and lines. It was then reported that she had a procedure done called blepharoplasty, which is where they create a hollow space between and above the eyes, which is ultimately what led her to always look like she's in some sort of state of surprise or shock. She's also had a lip augmentation done, a nose job, and face fillers. The beautiful blonde actress was once famous for her fresh face look when she started her career in the 80s. Now she is known for her plastic surgery transformation and for all the wrong reasons. At number 3 we have Dennis Avner, also known as Catman. He actually became a celebrity throughout his journey with plastic surgery. For years he destroyed his body for fame as he morphed his entire body into looking like a tiger. He holds the world record for body modifications, having numerous tattoos, piercings, and cosmetic surgery done. He even went as far as having whiskers, cat ears, and a mechanical tail. It was reported that he spent thousands and thousands of dollars for his surgeries, which included bifurcation, which is the splitting of the upper lip, surgical pointing of the ears, silicone cheek and forehead implants, tooth filing, tattoos, and facial piercings. He was known all over the world and fans jumped at any opportunity to take a picture with him. Sadly, in November of 2012, he was found dead in his home, but his legacy still goes on. When he was asked why he started this transformation in the first place, he said, "I felt inspired after discussion with a Native American chief who told me to follow the ways of the tiger." Talk about taking someone's words a little too seriously. And at number 2 is Pete Burns. He was the singer and frontman of the band Dead or Alive. Not only was he known for his music and talent, he was also known for his wild plastic surgery transformation. His career started with smash hits like the song You Spin Me Right Round, but later he decided to leave music behind, which is when he was known for his reality TV and his dramatic change in appearance. He flaunted his work and even appeared on UK's celebrity Botched Up Bodies, where he said his famous quote, "I hope when I go to heaven that God doesn't recognize me." It all started with a simple nose job but went up from there. He had 4 surgeries done on his nose, 2 sets of cheekbone implants, and 2 lip augmentations. Having these repeated operations led to bad infections in his face and lips, which left him needing a ton of corrective procedures after that. It got as serious of him having to be rushed to the hospital after a lip augmentation had gone wrong. He was on his deathbed and recovered after 10 days of being on heavy blood thinners. He still went through other surgeries after that despite risking his life. He explained in an interview with ABC, "I see myself as my own clay and I was remodeling it." Taking our number 1 spot is another man who became a celebrity with his crazy desire to become the next human Ken doll. His name is Rodrigo Alves, but likes to go by the human Ken doll because he literally looks just like one. A lot of young boys dream of growing up to look like their favorite superhero, but for this UK celebrity Big Brother star, his obsession was to always look like a plastic doll. His obsession went further than anyone could ever imagine, spending a total of $883,000 on surgeries. His surgeries include hair transplant, Botox, face fillers, pec implants, fake six-pack implants, multiple nose jobs, liposuction to his jaw, fillers in his arms, calf shaping, bum lift, facelift, and rib removal. 4 ribs in total. In January of 2018, he told Sun Online that he was done with plastic surgery and was content with his final look. People are shocked when they see him, but even more shocked when they see his before picture. He says he now wants to focus on building his own brand. He said, and I quote, "I now want to focus on building my brand with my style, fashion, personality, and lifestyle. That's what I want to be known for." Starting off our list at number 10 is Michael Jackson. He was one of the greatest performers to walk the earth and his personal life captured the interest of millions, mostly for his change of his look. He started out as a young singer in the band Jackson 5 where he rocked a black afro and dark skin. There was an accident that occurred where his hair actually caught on fire, so he began wearing wigs and also had permanent tattooing done to his scalp. But besides his hair, one of the most obvious parts of his transformation was the change in his skin color. Many people claimed he changed his color from black to white as a way of being accepted. Michael went on the Oprah show and claimed he had a skin condition and that was the reason it changed color. But reports say he had steroids and other medications also known as bleaching agents. Throughout his career he had multiple surgeries done to his face including facelifts, nose jobs, chin implant, and lip tattooing to make them appear thinner. It's hard to say what the real reason was, but it can be assumed that the fame and money he had definitely played an effect on it. At number 9 is Farrah Abraham. She was cast on MTV show 16 and Pregnant when she was just 16 years old and pregnant, and then went on to be one of the OGs on the show Teen Mom. She was in the spotlight for years with her daughter Sophia, which is why fans were shocked when her image and behaviors began to change. In 2010, she had her first big surgery done, which was breast implants. It was only noticeable because she's always been a very petite girl, so they definitely stuck out on her tiny little frame. In 2012, she got a rhinoplasty rhinoplasty and chin implant, which reports say cost her $16,000. The following year, in 2013, she got her second breast implant surgery and was showing off her new D cups. This year is when her image and also her reputation began to change as she got involved in the porn industry, promoting her adult film at the Gentleman's Club in Las Vegas and also a personal sex tape leaked onto the internet. She also got involved in a sex toy industry where she created her own line. In 2015, the star went to get more permanent lip fillers, but she had an allergic reaction. She posted the pictures and captioned it, "Girlfriends, don't say I didn't warn ya. #botched, #ER, #fixit." Since then, she has had countless procedures done. Her breasts again, her lips again, other face injections, and bum implants and bum fillers. She actually goes on her Instagram live video with her daughter Sophia in the room as she gets her bum fillers, by the way. You can just imagine the controversy. We can imagine that she feels the need to fit this type of image because she's now so involved in the sex/porn industry. Taking over spot number 8 is Cher. The actress and singer is a legend for her talent but also for her looks. She basically hasn't aged a day because a lot of her financial success into plastic surgery. The best part is she has no problem admitting it. She flaunts the work she's had done with pride and says that she hopes to smash the stigma that cosmetic surgery is something to be ashamed of. During an interview with Glamour in 2018, she said, "It makes me happy. And you know, if I want to put my tits on my back, they're mine to do so." The actress admits to having a facelift and also Botox to reduce wrinkles and frowning lines. UK's leading aesthetic doctor, Dr. Nick Milojevic, says it looks like she's also had a neck lift and an eye operation. He also said, and I quote, "She would also have regular dermal fillers, as at her age the skin loses volume and needs to be plumped." Regardless of what she's had done, when she took on a role in Mamma Mia 2 last year, everyone kept asking, how the hell does Cher look so good? So I guess that beauty is pain. In the number 7 spot is Donatella Versace, the Italian fashion designer and current vice president of the Versace group, and also its chief designer. She is currently 64 years old and has a net worth of a whopping $200 million. The Versace company's stakes are divided between herself, her daughter Allegra, and her brother Santo Versace. The total value of the company is $1.7 billion. So needless to say, her company is a successful one. As time has gone on, her bags are not the only thing that has changed, her look has also, and significantly. She isn't known for having the most natural style, and she's the first one to admit it. In 2013, during an interview with Sunday's Vogue Festival, she said, "I am not genetically like this. I use tons of cream and take care of my hair and skin." She went on to admit that she's had Botox done on her face, but denies that she has had any other work done besides that. The fashion designer explains that it takes a lot to get her well-crafted look, which most people would expect from a designer. She can't even remember the last time she wore flat shoes. I can only imagine the expectations she even puts on herself as one of the world's most iconic designers. At number 6 is Pamela Anderson, the legendary actress and model mostly known for her work in Playboy magazine and on Baywatch. But before she became this sexual figure, she actually appeared in the family television show Home Improvement. It was her first television appearance and she took on the role of Pam. Looking back at pictures now, you would probably not even know that it was her, because I didn't. Her looks completely changed after her first breast enlargement surgery and lip injections. Last year in 2018, America's holistic plastic surgeon Dr. Anthony Oon did a report of all the surgeries he suspects Pamela has had done based on his professional experience and knowledge. Throughout the report, he states that he thinks she's had some fillers injected into her cheeks, laser treatments done to her skin, Botox injections, and some fillers or fat transfers within the skin on her face. The model has always been recognized for her looks, so I can only imagine the pressure that comes with that. Halfway through at number 5 is Carrot Top, an American stand-up comedian and actor whose original name is actually Scott Thompson. If for some reason you don't know who he is, he's a guy known for his bright red afro hair, hence the Carrot Top nickname. Over the years, rumors have spread that he has undergone a number of different plastic surgery operations, and understandably so, because looking at pictures, I would definitely think that he has. However, he continues to deny that he has had any work done. During an interview back in 2013, he was asked about what he thought on the rumors. His response was, "People think I've had plastic surgery. No, it just takes a lot of makeup to make me look good." He went on to say that people have made jokes that he looks like The Mask, and all he has to say is, and I quote, "I'm sorry that I look good. I don't think I look anything different than I did when I started comedy." According to plastic surgeon Dr. Un, he says he definitely has had some work done. He says yielding an excessively arched brow and a smooth face is the result of laser treatment. He's looking more and more like a muscle-bound cartoon character. Well, what do you guys think? Plastic surgery or makeup? Here we are at number 4 with Janice Dickinson. She has been referred to as the world's first supermodel. She deserves that title seeing as she did pave the way for the thousands of women who have since joined the competitive modeling industry. But she's just one of the millions of people to see her life destroyed by drugs and alcohol. Janice opens up and explains that she managed to avoid drugs entirely for the first 5 years of her career, but finally gave into temptation following a bad breakup. She said her way of coping was through the large amounts of free cocaine that she got as a result of her success. The model spent the next couple of decades filling her body with drugs and also plastic surgery. She has never been shy to admit that she has had breast implants, lip injections, and other work done on her face. She even appeared on the hit show Botched to get her breast implants fixed, and the doctors were concerned on how she would handle the medications with her past drug addiction. The former model is often spotted out in public without makeup ever since appearing on the show where she exposed it all. Alright guys, at number 3 we have Tara Reid. Most of us girls will know her from her role in the movie Josie and the Pussycats, and most guys will know her from the American Pie movies. The actress was very successful, finding her way to play the hottie in most of her movies. She had a naturally beautiful look, but over the years she has gone through some awful plastic surgery experiences. In 2006 she had a procedure done called liposculpting, which went horribly wrong and actually botched her stomach. She wanted to get the surgery done in the first place to upkeep her hottie reputation, but turns out it cost her a lot of work. During an interview in 2007 she opened up about it and said, "My stomach became the most ripply bulgy thing. I had a hernia, this huge bump next to my belly button. As a result I couldn't wear a bikini and I lost a lot of work." She also explained that her breast implants were botched by the same doctor, which left her with deformed nipples. She later had both procedures reversed, but it wasn't able to fully fix the issues. She was last spotted in February 2019 jogging and working out with her trainer in LA. In spot number 2 is Jocelyn Wildenstein. Hey, we have the same name. Honestly, I'm not totally sure what she's famous for. If you go online, it basically said she's famous for her extensive cosmetic surgery and also her divorce from billionaire Alec Wildenstein in 1999. Her actual Wikipedia title is American Socialite. Whatever that means. Not only was she in the tabloids for her divorce, but she also was referred to as Catwoman for having feline features. Despite what everyone else says about her, she claims that she hasn't had that much surgery and blames her Swiss background for her high cheekbones and cat eyes. Just last year, during an interview with Paper Magazine, she pulled out photographs from when she was in her teen and her early 20s because she wanted to show the interviewer that she has always had these features. Yeah, all I can see is a lot of plastic surgery. But what do you guys think? Taking our number 1 spot is Heidi Montag. She became famous from the MTV hit show The Hills, where she was Lauren Conrad's best friend. The show was a reality-based show, so Heidi only played herself. But the young star became famous for her insane amount of plastic surgery more than anything. She shocked the world when she had 10 plastic surgeries done in just 24 hours. Not procedures, surgeries. It was a brutal process and she barely made it out alive, literally. She was just 23 years old when she went under the knife back in 2010, and she came out looking about 23 years older with completely different facial features. So here is the list of what she had done. A mini brow lift, Botox in the forehead and frown area, a nose job revision, a chin reduction, fat injections in the cheeks, nasolabial folds and lips, neck liposuction, the ears pinned back, a breast augmentation revision increased to a size F, liposuction on the waist, hips and inner and outer thighs, and buttock augmentation. She had surgery done a few years prior, so she wasn't really new to it. During an interview with People magazine, she was asked why she did it all at once, and she replied, "That's kind of my personality, everything at once. And I really just wanted to go under anesthesia once instead of going under and under again. It felt safer to me." Unfortunately, it was anything but safe. Turns out her heart actually stopped for a minute and she was technically dead on the operation table. She continued to say that the risk wasn't worth it and that she is done. I quote, "Risking my own life for vanity." She does regret her decision and calls it a huge mistake, but says it forced her to grow as a person.
Number 10, Austin Mahone. Once considered the next big thing in the 2010s, Austin Mahone was set to follow in Justin Bieber's footsteps and become a teen idol himself. But after years of hype, his music career never really took off. The singer started out by posting various covers of pop songs on YouTube in 2010, including Justin Bieber's Mistletoe, which catapulted his rise to fame. But right away, Austin made it clear that he did not appreciate the comparison, saying, "They see a young kid who sings and dances, they're like, oh, another Justin Bieber. Like, you don't even know, you don't know me, you don't know my music, you're just making assumptions." But fast forward to 2022 and Austin Mahone is nowhere to be seen in the music industry. So what gives? Well, in short, he had a falling out with his label due to poor sales of his album and had to restart his career somewhere else as an independent musician, which didn't really work out well either. In 2020, Austin made a questionable career move when he made an OnlyFans and reportedly auctioned a 10-minute video of him during alone time, which sold for $9,000. Hey, you never know, maybe he got desperate. But all in all, it's likely that the world just didn't feel like they needed another Justin Bieber. Number 9. Macklemore. When he stepped into the music scene 10 years ago, he was seen as unstoppable. Alongside his longtime producing partner Ryan Lewis, Macklemore captured the entire world's attention with his debut studio album The Heist. With record-breaking hits like Thrift Shop, Same Love, and Can't Hold Us, he firmly established himself as a socially conscious rapper and achieved big-time stardom. But in recent years, the hype around him has really fizzled out. This is in part due to Ryan Lewis's departure, because he was a critical part of Macklemore's early success. In 2017, the duo announced that they were splitting up and needed creative space from each other. Although there were no hard feelings, it's pretty obvious that Ryan's exit really impacted the quality of Macklemore's work, and there was definitely a shift in how his music was perceived by the public. But there were also some enormous changes that took place in Macklemore's personal life, because he's now a father of 3. Not only that, but he's more focused now on his charity work and community activism. So while many people seem to think that he's fallen off the face of the earth entirely, he's actually just turning his focus onto other endeavors. Number 8. Mischa Barton. In the early 2000s, she was one of the hottest stars on the Hollywood scene. Thanks to the success of the Fox teen drama The OC, the young actress was instantly thrust into the spotlight when she was just 17 years old. But after leaving the hit show in 2006, Mischa became a tabloid target and struggled to recapture her previous level of acting success. It really all happened after she was involved in several unfortunate incidents in 2007, including a hospitalization and a DUI arrest. Over the next few years, the paparazzi continued to hound her as she gained unwanted attention for things like a trip to the psych ward, a failed TV comeback, and even her fluctuating weight. She really tried to turn it around in 2019 by joining the cast of The Hills, New Beginnings, with most of the cast from the original reality series, including Heidi Montag, Spencer Pratt, Brody Jenner, and Audrina Patridge. But unfortunately, Mischa was not invited back for season 2 because, according to Brody, the actress didn't fit in with the rest of the cast. He said, "Bringing Mischa on to begin with was sort of awkward. It's a little bit upsetting because she has been planning a career comeback for more than a decade now, but she just hasn't been able to crack it." Number 7. Zooey Deschanel. Best known for 500 Days of Summer as well as the hit Fox series New Girl, Zooey was a huge star during the high points of her career. But after New Girl came to an end in 2018, her acting career has slowed down considerably. In fact, she's been largely absent from our screens over the past couple of years and doesn't seem to have any major roles lined up. So what happened? Well, as we know, from 2011 to 2018, Zooey played Jess, a sweet, quirky teacher who moves in with 3 strangers in Los Angeles after a terrible breakup. And although the role landed her an Emmy and Golden Globe nominations, it also pigeonholed her as a performer and made her harder to cast in roles that differed too drastically from Jess. So between New Girl and 500 Days of Summer, the fact is that many of Zooey's characters fit the definition of the manic pixie dream girl, which is a term describing those quirky female characters with a Disney princess mindset who only exist to give the male lead a new lease on life. So when people started criticizing that character trope in Hollywood, Zooey received a lot of backlash for almost exclusively taking those roles. And now that it's not as popular as it used to be, studio heads are way more hesitant to cast her. Number 6. Mike Myers. His name is synonymous with the hilarious and charismatic character Austin Powers. However, the actor is reportedly very difficult to work with in real life, which meant that he eventually found it quite difficult to keep starring in major films. There have been numerous reports suggesting that Myers is a nightmare nightmare on set, with some even claiming him to be a control freak and just outright grumpy. It has come to light that the actor makes tons of demands of his assistants. In fact, Myers reportedly made life a daily nightmare for the cast and crew of one of his biggest films. According to Amy Hill, who was his co-star in The Cat in the Hat, she said it was a horrible, nightmarish experience. Hill claimed that he selfishly kept everyone waiting for hours, overruled the director, and even had someone standing by just holding his personal chocolates in a dish. Quote, "It was so weird, it was just the worst, I was miserable." Another story involves a fan that offered to buy the actor a drink. After telling Myers how much he enjoyed his work, Myers allegedly just looked at him and said, "I can afford my own drinks," cursed at him and said, "Save your money for my next movie." Apart from being notoriously difficult to work with, his mean-spirited attitude towards regular people have shrunk his fan base down to a fraction of what it used to be. Number 5. Jamie Lynn Spears. People have started referring to Jamie Lynn as the Britney Spears from Wish, and it's easy to see why. They've labeled her as a knockoff to her pop star sister. Jamie Lynn started her career in film and television as a child, mostly playing the younger version of Britney's characters. But she didn't receive star status until landing the lead role as Zoe Brooks on the Nickelodeon show Zoe 101. And even when she was cast by its creator Dan Schneider, it was all because she looked a lot like her older sister. The boarding school set dramedy was a smash hit and cemented a young Jamie Lynn's acting career. But little did fans know there was actually a scandal brewing behind the set, as its star was just 16 when she fell pregnant, which would have been a bombshell for the very PG show. In her memoir, Things I Should Have Said, Jamie Lynn says her family and management pulled her out of school until they could figure out what to do next. And after the 4th season of Zoe 101, the network cancelled the series. Since then, her acting career has been on hiatus, and although she briefly tried to break through as a country star, Jamie Lynn has not been successful at rehabilitating her career since. Number 4. Tara Reid. There's no doubt that the American Pie star was one of Hollywood's it girls in the late 90s and early 2000s. She was gorgeous and totally fit the funny, pretty girl archetype in movies. Tara achieved real fame by playing Vicky in the hugely popular American Pie series, and she was also in Cruel Intentions, Van Wilder, and Scrubs. However, at the time of her blow-up in Hollywood, she was seen partying more and more and became less credible. Eventually, the publicity of her clubbing lifestyle led to her show on E! Called Taradise, which ended up flopping and just made things a whole lot worse for her image. From that point on, Tara would unfortunately be in and out of rehab and had trouble maintaining sobriety. The actress was also going through various issues stemming from botched plastic surgery, claiming in 2004 that breast implants and liposuction surgeries left her with disfigurements that damaged her career. She told Us Weekly, "My stomach became the most ripply, bulgy thing. I had a hernia, this huge bump next to my belly button. As a result, I couldn't wear a bikini. I lost a lot of work." She did, however, manage to nab a role in the comedy disaster film franchise Sharknado, but unfortunately, that reoccurring role wasn't enough to reboot her career. Number 3. Katherine Heigl. Television medical drama Grey's Anatomy catapulted Katherine Heigl into the limelight. The thing is, she had a reputation of being extremely unpleasant to work with on set, and after trashing her most popular movie ever, she lost a whole bunch of fans. I'm talking about 2007's Knocked Up. It was not just hilarious but very well received all round, scoring an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes and bringing in $219 million at the box office against a $25 million budget. But Katherine was less than thrilled about her participation in the movie and called the film sexist, telling Vanity Fair in 2008 that she thought the movie paints women as shrews, as humorless and uptight, and it paints the men as lovable, goofy, fun-loving guys. She went on to say that she had a hard time with the film on some days because she said that her character was a B-word and a killjoy. Not only that, but Heigl's bad reputation stems largely from her decision to decline a second Emmy nomination for Grey's Anatomy in 2008. She released a wince-inducing public statement that claims she simply wasn't given the material this season to warrant an Emmy nomination. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you. Number 2. Azealia Banks. With tongue-twisting lyricism, Azalea's debut single 212 is definitely one for the books. Pitchfork called it the 6th best song of the 2010s, and Billboard said it defined a decade. In fact, Rolling Stone placed it on the list of the 500 greatest songs ever made. The track was supposed to set her up for world domination, but these days it's hard to think of any artist that has been marred in such controversy as Azealia. Her social media presence has created scandal after scandal, and the list of people she has feuded with is so extensive that it has its own section on Wikipedia. Her celebrity beef is super random and impossible to keep track of. of. For instance, she went on a huge rant on her Instagram story last year, insulting Doja Cat's looks and her music, saying, "Doja makes music for 10-year-olds and is very derivative. Cute girl, but her attempts at witty East Coast Roman reloaded flows are pitiful and not in the least amusing. And yes, she looked terrible before she lost weight." And in 2018, she accused Elon Musk of investment fraud and called him a beta male who took steroids and got hair plugs to convince himself that he was an alpha. She still occasionally makes attempts to collaborate with other artists, but at this stage it would be difficult to find anyone that would still work with her. And coming in at number 1, Hayden Christensen. He was just 19 years old when he was cast as Anakin Skywalker, the man who would evolve into Darth Vader in the Star Wars prequel trilogy. It was set to be the role of a lifetime, and somehow, despite having limited leading man experience, Hayden was handpicked for the role out of a pool of more than 1,500 candidates. But unfortunately for the young actor, the prequels garnered overwhelmingly negative reviews from critics and fans alike. In reviews, his performance was referred to as unpolished, timid, and stiff, and many people just called him a straight-up bad actor. So instead of setting Hayden on a path for more high-profile film roles, the backlash that the prequels received led the Canadian actor to fade into obscurity. But it was also a choice that he made for himself at the time, telling the Los Angeles Times, "I guess I felt like I had this great thing in Star Wars that provided all these opportunities and gave me a career, but it all kind of felt a little too handed to me. I didn't want to go through life feeling like I was just riding a wave." Which is actually quite sad when you think about it, but he does seem content now with less prominent roles and actually seems to prefer life outside of the spotlight. Number 10, Zac Efron. The High School Musical star really shocked fans with how different he looked in 2021, when a video surfaced online of his face looking extremely altered. When Zac appeared on camera for a virtual Earth Day event, everyone was totally distracted by his new appearance. Not only did he no longer have his iconic babyface look, but some people suggested that he had an altered jawline and enhanced lips, and suspected that he'd had, at the very least, some Botox done. It's true that he looked a little bit puffy or possibly swollen, but of course, camera angles, makeup, and poor lighting also could have contributed to the drastically different appearance. When the video started making the rounds on social media, popular TikTok surgeon Dr. Yun suggested that Zac might have gotten oral surgery, which would explain his swollen jaw, which would happen if your wisdom teeth were taken out, or you had some kind of other intensive dental surgery. But fans were not happy about the doctor's comments and accused him of trying to capitalize on Zac's popularity to gain attention. Although he does look different now, it's not necessarily a bad thing. The actor went on both The Ellen Show and Jimmy Kimmel Live recently and just looked a whole lot more mature. In fact, he seemed to have really grown into his features in the best way possible. Number 9, Khloe Kardashian. The Keeping Up with the Kardashians star is known for being the funniest and most laid back of all the sisters. But over the years, fans have seen such a drastic change in her appearance that it can only be put down to excessive plastic surgery. And while the reality star isn't too outspoken when it comes to her past procedures, she has opened up once before about the reason behind her choice to go under the knife. Quote, "For me, everyone says, oh my gosh, she's had her 3rd face transplant, but I've only had 1 nose job and everyone gets so upset. Like, why don't I talk about it? No one's ever asked me." She also revealed that she has done injections, but not really Botox, because when she tried it, her face responded horribly, but all the surgery was probably because of something deeper. In fact, later in the episode, Khloe explained how she experienced body image insecurity when doing photo shoots with her sisters, saying, "They would receive racks and racks of clothes, and I was told by so many different stylists I was given about 2 or 3 pieces of clothing, but not to worry because I would be in the background anyway," which is pretty unfortunate because being treated like that would upset just about anybody. Number 8, Rebel Wilson. The Australian actress has been in comedy since the early 2000s, but her career really took off a decade later in movies like What to Expect When You're Expecting, Struck by Lightning, and of course, Pitch Perfect. She's always been a huge health and body positive advocate and has frequently opened up about her health journey. But the reason Rebel Wilson looks so drastically different in 2022 is that she has actually been working on her health and fitness since late 2019, and she has seen massive results. In a candid interview with the BBC, she talked about the differences in how she's being treated now. Quote, "Sometimes being bigger, people don't necessarily look twice at you. Now that I'm in good shape, people offer to carry my groceries to the car and hold doors open for you. And you think, is this what other people experience all the time?" So even Even though Rebel seems to be a lot happier now, she's also pointed out something that's really worth discussing. Her health journey has been a very public one, so it's great that the actress has decided not to hold back when talking about all the challenges that she's faced throughout. And she's certainly become an inspiration for others to make positive changes to their health. Number 7. Miley Cyrus. The 29-year-old singer and actress has lived so many lives already. She's been a Disney star, a country singer, then she moved to R&B for a while and back into pop. Miley has always been an eccentric performer. I mean, who can forget twerking against Robin Thicke at the MTV VMAs in 2013? But her whole style and aesthetic did a complete 180 somewhere around 2020 when she started embracing all things rock and roll. These days she looks completely unrecognizable with a platinum blonde mullet, metallic blue smoky eyeshadow, and a blue and white striped dress. She actually looks like an 80s rock star. The aesthetic change appears to be part of her newest musical era for her newest rock album, Plastic Hearts. It's still up for debate whether Miley is going for a more grunge or glam rock, but it's clear that she's chosen a whole nother genre for herself when it comes to not only style but music. After hearing her cover of Blondie's Heart of Glass, which was released as a single in late September, it became clear to so many that her voice is really suited to rock and roll. Alongside her cover of Zombie by the Cranberries and her own song Midnight Sky, it seems like she's really grown into her voice and found the perfect look for the genre. Number 6. Adele. Ever since her music blew up in the early 2010s, the powerhouse singer has released hit after hit. Her albums 21, 25, and 30 became instant successes, with all 3 topping number 1 on nearly every worldwide music chart. But fans were really shocked in 2020 when Adele made a post on social media that showed her completely transformed look. In fact, she joked about the change in her opening monologue for SNL, saying, "I know I look really different since you last saw me, but actually because of all the COVID restrictions, I had to travel light and I could only bring half of me, and this is the half I chose." The 34-year-old looks extremely happy these days, and she's recently opened up about the healthy lifestyle changes she made that helped her lose 100 pounds in 2 years. But she knows that plenty of negative comments have surfaced about her new look, and she told British Vogue, "My body has been objectified my entire career. It's not just now. I understand why it's a shock. I understand why some women especially were hurt. Visually, I represent a lot of women, but I'm still the same person." So it's clear that Adele is very much herself, just with a newfound confidence. Number 5. Kesha. The singer shocked fans when she debuted her glamorous and sophisticated new look at the Studio 666 premiere in Hollywood. The 34-year-old was truly unrecognizable with a dark, short bob and a plain black dress in a major style transformation from her party girl days. Kesha wore a plunging, lace-up, short, tight black leather dress that accentuated both her chest and her legs. Her brunette hair was slicked back with natural-looking makeup. The Grammy Award winner has been known to drastically alter her appearance through the years, but her new, almost bare-faced look was a complete flip from her usual bright, eccentric style with heavy makeup and her signature long, wavy blonde hair. So making the change from blonde to brunette and chopping her hair into a chin bob length made all the difference in the world. But aside from desperately waiting for Kesha to release new music, fans are also longing for the conclusion of her lengthy legal battle with her former producer Dr. Luke, which has been ongoing since 2014. The defamation lawsuit against her seems like it's gonna go on forever at this stage, and it has really kept her career in a kind of limbo. But it's clear that she's already planning some kind of a comeback with her new style. Number 4. Linda Evangelista. The Canadian fashion model was undoubtedly one of the top supermodels from the 1990s and is regarded as one of the most accomplished and influential models of all time. In fact, she's been featured on over 700 magazine covers, but Linda hasn't really been seen in public very much in the last 5 years or so, and fans recently found out why. In September last year, she took to Instagram and revealed that she had undergone cool sculpting treatment to her face, which she says left her unrecognizable, as it allegedly caused fat cells in her face to multiply. Quote, "To my followers who have wondered why I have not been working while my peers' careers have been thriving, the reason is that I was brutally disfigured." She went on to say that the procedure actually did the opposite of what it was promised. In fact, what happened to her was a rare but serious side effect of cool sculpting, and the model said the treatment not only destroyed her livelihood, but sent her into a cycle of deep depression, profound sadness, and the lowest depths of self-loathing, which is extremely sad when you consider just how much much it would have affected her self-esteem. Number 3. Iggy Azalea. The Australian rapper made her US debut in 2014 with the release of her first album, The New Classic, which debuted at number 1 on the Billboard rap chart. From her collaborations with some of our favorite pop princesses to her gorgeous curves, Iggy Azalea has consistently commanded headlines all over the globe. But recently, a lot of it has been plastic surgery rumors, considering how much her appearance has changed over the years. Confirming the suspicions, the Aussie hitmaker admitted that she has had rhinoplasty. She said, "I'm not denying it. Denying it is lame. I don't think you should be ashamed if you've made a change to yourself, which is why I've spoken about the changes I've made, like with my breasts." Iggy was always pretty straightforward about her decision to have surgery, saying, "Your perception of yourself can change a lot over time, so I think it's important to wait and make sure it's the right choice. Plastic surgery is an emotional journey. It's no easy feat to live with your flaws and accept yourself, and it's no easy feat to change yourself. Either way you look at it, it's a tough journey." Which is a great message to get out there, considering that there's still a lot of stigma behind just admitting to having done plastic surgery in the first place. Number 2. Sharon Osbourne. The former The Talk panelist is no stranger to plastic surgery, and it really seemed to work with her over the years, considering her appearance was never altered too drastically. But all that changed in late 2021 when she got a facelift that, in her own words, ended up making her look like a cyclops. Quote, "I had a full facelift done in October, and I looked like one of those effing mummies that they wrap with bandages." She told the Sunday Times that the whole thing hurt like hell, but what was even worse is that all the pain never really paid off for her. Sharon said that after the more than 5-hour surgery, she was left looking horrendous, and she even told the surgeon, quote, "You've got to be effing joking. One eye was different to the other. I looked like an effing cyclops. All I need is a hunchback." It sounds funny, but it would have been a nightmare for her. Even her husband, Ozzy Osbourne, was totally against the results. Fortunately, she was able to undergo reconstructive work, and she's now a lot more satisfied with her appearance. And coming in at number 1, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Of all the famous twins in Hollywood, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen are probably the most mysterious. The former child stars announced an abrupt and permanent retirement from acting more than 15 years ago, and ever since then they've kept a low profile. But the twins are still hard at work on their fashion line and other business endeavors. But when photos surfaced over the years of Mary-Kate looking drastically different from Ashley, fans began speculating that one or both sisters may have had plastic surgery. People were pretty rude when it came to targeting the appearance of both of them, with some outlets reporting that Ashley underwent a botched facelift and that Mary-Kate looked a lot older. In fact, one plastic surgeon who spoke to Life and Style magazine insisted that the changes could have come from other factors, such as nicotine products or lifestyle changes. The sisters looked surprisingly similar when they were younger, which caused most people to assume that they were identical, but they're actually fraternal twins, which might help explain their physical differences now. The girls did have a brief chance to get back on the screens recently in the revival of their original show, Fuller House, but they just weren't interested in participating, which seemed to disappoint a lot of fans. But it only served to make them more mysterious as they continue to live ever so private lives.
Kicking things off at number 10, we have Robert Pattinson. The Twilight heartthrob had the spotlight shine on him for the first time after the release of the first Twilight movie back in 2008, and it's really been on him ever since. The limelight may seem like one's biggest dream, but to Pattinson, it's a nightmare. Robert often speaks out about how isolating fame can be and how it feels strange to be held to such a high standard. The actor says that it's a weird feeling to wake up one day and not be considered a normal person. Pattinson even stated that once fame hits, you lose your normal life. Pattinson is also critical of his fame because he's been pegged as that guy from Twilight, even though he's done many other projects since the saga came to a close. He doubts he will ever shake that sultry vampire image, so he chooses to live his life away from the public eye. In at number 9, Kristen Stewart. Speaking of Twilight, actress Kristen Stewart has seemed to have fallen into the same sort of boat as ex Robert Pattinson. Kristen, who's actually been acting since she was a child, really saw her image taken to new heights after the premiere of the Twilight saga. She had a struggle with fame after the very public breakup with co-star Robert Pattinson back in 2013. The breakup that caused massive media attention turned on her and her cheating scandal with director Rupert Sanders. As the drama surrounding the scandal began to disappear, so did she. After the release of her film Snow White and the Huntsman, Stewart seemed to have taken a break from the public eye for a few years. Upon making her slow return back to Hollywood, she was heard comparing her fame to having her limbs cut off. I think it's safe to say that Hollywood rubbed her the wrong way and she just couldn't handle it. Coming in at number 8, Macaulay Culkin. Former child star Macaulay Culkin was brought into the spotlight very early in his career. Upon reaching his peak in the 90s after the release of Home Alone, Culkin continued to have a pretty steady career. It wasn't until he reached the age of 16 that he decided to take a step back from the fame. After getting emancipated from his family, Macaulay went a little sideways and started getting himself into some trouble. After getting into trouble with the law and abusing illegal substances, the actor found himself back into the spotlight again, but this time for his fall from grace. Everyone knew him as the adorable child star from the 90s, and soon his image became tarnished. It wasn't soon after his public downfall that Culkin took a step back from Hollywood once again. Since then, he's decided to lay low and not gather too much attention. He's since referred to his fame as a blessing and a curse, as it got him a lot of success as a child, but he just couldn't handle the fame. Jumping into number 7, we have Daniel Radcliffe. We all know Daniel Radcliffe for his iconic role as Harry Potter, but what we've neglected to realize is that he's been in the public eye since he was a child. Kicking off his career as a boy wizard back in 2001, Radcliffe had his share of scrutiny from the public. Daniel has been quite vocal about his struggle with fame since being a child, saying things like, "People will boo you even if you're a child." Can you believe that? Imagine living your life as a 10-year-old and having people boo you just for being you. I mean, I understand being booed for some controversial thing you did in your past, but come on people, he's just a kid. The actor has also voiced his struggle with coping with fame, saying it's tempting to turn to alcohol to deal with scrutiny. Poor guy. I mean, this sort of gives us an idea as to why many celebs have substance abuse problems, but luckily, Radcliffe's doing okay even with all this fame. But since the end of the Harry Potter movies, he's chosen to keep out of the spotlight as much as possible. Over here at number 6, we have Demi Lovato. Former Disney star Demi Lovato found her start at just 16 years old upon getting her starring role in Camp Rock. After the movie's release, Demi continued to find success on the Disney Channel and with her own music career. But it seems that after her run with Disney, she began to crack under Mickey Mouse's pressure. Just 2 years after the release of Camp Rock, Demi reportedly assaulted one of the backup dancers she was traveling with. This began a very public criticism of the star. After leaving the Disney Channel, Demi found herself caught in the middle of other scandals like drug abuse and mental health relapses. Demi was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and this, mixed with the stress of being a child star in the media, just became too much for her. Demi started going in and out of rehab, but has finally seemed to come out in a better place. Focusing on her music, she's mostly stayed out of the spotlight and continues to get better. Halfway through at number 5, Kylie Jenner. Kylie is no stranger to paparazzi. After the rise of sister Kim Kardashian in the media, a new spotlight began shining on the Kardashian-Jenner family. In 2007, taping of the reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians began, and Kylie was only 10 years old at the time. Having cameras around you 24/7 and growing up with the spotlight on you like that must be incredibly difficult to manage. Kylie, having grown up so publicly, has since shown her distaste for fame. She's vocalized her anxiety when it comes to the press, saying that she wakes up every morning feeling anxious because she thinks that a bad story is gonna come out about her. She's been living with such paranoia for years, it's honestly heartbreaking. She became famous just because she's related to someone famous. She never really asked to have the spotlight put on her, but it's just something she's had to deal with on a daily basis. Kylie even hid from the world for months during her pregnancy because she just wanted to experience her pregnancy without the world watching. Seems to me that Kylie just wants to be a normal person. Coming in at number 4, Zayn Malik. Known for his part in the former boy band One Direction, Zayn was known to have his fair share of grievances when it came to his fame. After leaving the group in 2015, Zayn went on to tell sources that he came to the realization that he just didn't want to be famous and that he lost a lot of people close to him because of it. Zayn really didn't like living with the public eye, so he quit his job over it. Although Zayn decided to begin a solo career, many believe that even that was too much for the singer. After the release of Pillow Talk, Zayn followed up with a number of cancelled appearances and performances, leading people to believe that he's still not up for the spotlight just yet. Coming down to the wire here at 3, we have Avicii. Tim Bergling, also known as Avicii, was a DJ, producer, and musician well known across the world. His death back in April 2018 shook the music world. Although he is known for producing some killer music, he struggled a lot with his image. Being one of the most successful artists in the world and having sold over 10 million albums, Avicii worked hard to keep producing, but maybe he went a little too hard. Avicii was known to have struggled with his health and his fame, even going so far as to take a break from music back in 2014. The DJ went on to say that the partying and wild times that are associated with his job are really what had taken the biggest toll on his health, and that he really didn't enjoy that aspect of his job. During his break, he had 2 surgeries to remove his gallbladder and appendix, so he really did have a struggle with his health. Avicii died by suicide, and many believe that it was because of his poor mental health caused by his job and his fame. Getting close to the end at number 2, we have Britney Britney Spears. I think we all remember the pop star's public breakdown back in 2007 and 2008. Her fall from grace was heavily documented and criticized, as the public had never seen this side of Britney before. She was previously seen as a sweet and charming girl with a baby voice, but after paparazzi snapped images of her attacking photographers with an umbrella while donning her infamous shaved head, Britney's career plummeted hard. After dealing with mental health problems, a failed marriage, and losing custody of her 2 kids, Britney's state went from bad to worse. It wasn't until her fame and the media came into the mix that things really spiraled out of control for the singer. She was labeled as crazy and was put into the care of her overprotective father. Having such a public meltdown was absolutely detrimental for the star, not only for her career but also for her mental state. Finally, coming in at number 1, Amy Winehouse. 5-time Grammy Award-winning singer Amy Winehouse experienced so much during her few years of fame. She became such an overnight sensation that she didn't know how to cope with all of her newfound fame. The rehab singer started off her career strong but quickly began to falter under the weight of her own fame. The artist soon experienced severe depression and turned to substance abuse to cope with the pain. Amy was so confused and overwhelmed by all the attention she was receiving that she began getting into the wrong crowd and experimenting with heavy drugs. Amy's career came to a halt after her death in July of 2011 due to alcohol poisoning. After her death, many of Amy's fans began blaming themselves for the singer's passing because they believed that they should have helped her better navigate her place in the media. Everyone was heartbroken upon hearing of her passing, but she's just one of the many examples of what happens when fame gets to be too much.